The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are solely their own and do not represent the position of the host, this show, or any organization either party is affiliated with. All content is shared purely for educational and inspirational purposes. Nothing discussed here constitutes professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to independently verify any information before acting on it. The host is not responsible for any outcomes resulting from guest statements. By listening, you agree that you are solely responsible for how you use the information shared. Welcome to the Tech Sharmit podcast, where technology is not just news, but the roadmap to the future. This is a space where we explore the latest tech trends, AI, startups, gadgets, and the ideas that redefine the way we think. Leading this conversation is Amit Sharma, globally recognized as Tech Sharmit. A technologist from Bharat, Amit brings an Indian perspective to the global technology landscape. With deep technical expertise and strong industry insight, and for his contributions and impact within the global tech community, he has been recognized with several prestigious honors, including Google Developer Expert, Microsoft MVP, IBM Champion, and Planet Mainframe Influencer. Through this podcast, he shares practical knowledge, real-world perspectives, and globally relevant thinking designed to help you stay ahead in an ever-evolving technology landscape. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Tech Sharmit channel to stay updated with future episodes. And if you're looking to level up your skills, don't forget to explore the Tech Sharmit digital course book in the description box, where you'll find thousands of free programming courses curated to help you grow as a developer. So plug in your headphones and join us as we begin today's episode of the Tech Sharmit podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm joined by another very special guest, Anthony Cua, who is joining us from Philippines. If I talk about Anthony, he is a senior management at TTSP Digital, founder of Power BI Pilipinas, Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and Data DNA Ambassador. He brings more than 20 years of experience across BPO industry, operations, process improvement, analytics, and business and intelligence. So in today's episode, we will talk about Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, Enterprise Analytics Architecture, and many more things. But before we get started, I would like to thank Anthony for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Wow, you actually, already gave a lot. Thank you very much, Amit. Hi to all of your loyal subscribers. And Anthony Cua here. You may call me Tony. Mainly, my claim to fame on the Microsoft MVP award is Power BI Pilipinas. Founded that and is still maintaining that. So I'm really excited to share our journey with how Power BI Pilipinas was set up, how it's doing now, as well as share something on the professional side, like Power BI, Fabric, and talk about how it actually, how to get involved in it from a beginner level up to like MVP status.
Yes. So your journey is really very interesting, and I think we should start from the initial days itself. So, like Tony, like you have spent 20 years in the BPO industry, right? So, if you have to pick one thing that you would like to share with everyone about BPO industry that surprise a lot of the people about that world of BPO, so what would you share about that?
I think perhaps one thing that I notice people, especially not coming from the industry, is kind of surprise stuff is the sheer speed, the sheer velocity of the data in that industry. Like a lot of people know BPO as back office work, call centers, of course, people answering calls, and they know that it's data rich, but they still get surprised that it's that data rich, that you have data coming in per second, per call. Once a call comes in, for example, agents get thrown into a barrage of information right in front of them. Customers' information, who's calling, customers' available packages, for example, if it's that type of industry. So there's a lot of flood of information, and all of these happening semi-real time. And that's where I guess one of the key, I feel one of the key surprises are about the call center industry or the BPO industry is that If you have a dashboard, you're maintaining a report, and it goes down for like 15 minutes, it
Mm-hmm.
affects thousands of agents around the world based on your client.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And nowadays, like when we are talking about the artificial intelligence or AI, it is highly like we often heard that this AI thing will going to firstly take the jobs, or it will convert the jobs for the BPO sector first. So what is your take on this? Like, do you think it is changing the way like it was working earlier, or how it has changed?
Yeah, I think that is true, and it is already happening to some extent. Like,
Okay.
there were a lot of jobs in the call center back then that were
Mhm.
already eaten up by even just the IVR, right? Not even AI. It's just
Yes.
IVR, people selecting options that already ate up a lot of your triaging agents. There used to be
Correct.
people that did that, yeah, that accepted the call, told you that, oh, you need to call tech support for this, or customer service for this, or sales,
Correct.
whatever for this. And that's what the IVR did. It actually cut that down. Now with AI coming in, it I do see it already affecting like the level some of the level 1 agents,
Mhm.
where the basic troubleshooting steps, if a certain call center technical, for example, is getting a lot of calls regarding password resets, that's
Mhm.
something that AI can easily not only provide a solution to, but also adjust at this point. Like, if by natural language alone, AI can already adjust to the customer's problem, if they're getting this error or that, if they're getting into a twisted path, which before was not possible. That's why people would always want to talk to a human, because they can, take the correct path of
Correct.
troubleshooting. Now, on level 1 issues, there is a trend on that. And honestly, the main barrier that I see is really just accuracy of speech to text, right?
Mm.
How accurate can AI actually understand your solution based
Right.
on what you're saying, into how can it actually provide the solution, which is pretty good, to be honest, at this point. So it can affect, or it is already affecting some level 1 solution agents. But at this point, that said, we are at a point where, as far as the skill, it just requires the humans to upskill themselves to be more, to level themselves apart from what AI agents can do.
Okay. So we can say that those who are into the BPO sector, they can try to adopt more technology. They can try to upgrade themselves so that they can show like where they can contribute beyond those kind of chatbots and AI troubleshooting kind of thing. In that case, like they can be still relevant and contribute to the BPO sector, because at the end like human interface is needed, right? You can't completely trust on machines, even though if it is providing the right solution, but still there is a need of human interaction, then only like we can communicate with each other, right?
That is correct. And well, there will be some people who will be fine with a robot giving them a solution. You're correct. And then, uh, agreed that there will be some people that will be looking for that human touch,
Human
that
touch,
will be
yeah.
looking for an actual person to speak with.
Correct, right.
Apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk about one of the great transition in your journey, that is from operations and process improvement into a recognized leader in the data analytics. So like you have transitioned from that phase to now as a recognized leader in the data analytics. So how did that evolution happen? Was that smooth transition for you, or there were some challenges at that time?
Well, first of all, thank you for telling that. It's still, yeah, it's still pretty surreal to hear that coming from anyone, like in real life. But what I can say is it's a pretty organic like transition,
Okay.
where being in the since I've been in the BPO industry for more than 20
Mhm.
years at this point,
Mhm.
which is very data centric on its own. So I just saw how data gets not only gets actual results via performance or process improvement, but I see that data is also being used as the main gauge, really, of your senior leadership, of your C-level leadership. So I kind of found myself smoothly transitioning into a more data oriented approach in terms of proving that this solution in fact did work, this solution
Mhm.
was better. It comes with if there's no KPI for it, we need to come up with an actual key performance indicator or an actual measure, an actual metric to measure it.
Yeah.
If it's already there, usually when you're talking to level people, your COOs, your CTOs, they will be
Mm.
looking for. So how does that convert into your actual monies, into your actual profit, into actual costs? And that's where I kind of found out that yeah, at this point, any improvement that you would do, whether your KPI is about average handle time, average speed, or percent quality, or percent customer satisfaction, for example,
Yeah.
they will all be rendered semi-meaningless if you can't really show how it's affecting the bottom line. How
Mm.
are they affecting actual profit? It sounds very, unfortunately, when I say it out loud now, it sounds less romantic than it should be. But it's what's really happening. It's data, especially the bottom line, especially
Correct.
anything that has dollar values on it is going to be the main reason for a lot of the decisions that are happening above you.
Okay. So I think those who are into the Power BI world, they will love to know about that transition, like how your journey got started and how you moved into that phase. And also, like you have been one of the most recognized Power BI advocates in the Philippines now, right? So I just wanted to know, like, how that part of your journey got started, like what initially attracted towards the Power BI, and how you decided that yes, this is the area where you want to contribute.
So to be honest, also not a personal decision, at least at the start, right? So
Okay.
or I can kind of tie it into that now that I think about it. So the honest reason why I stumbled across Power BI is we had a client back then that was going to use Power BI because they were already in the Microsoft ecosystem. They were using
Mhm.
Outlook. They were coming from a different uh, BI solution back then, which dollar per dollar is going to be more expensive in the long run. So they've decided that hey, since we're on Microsoft anyway, SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive,
Mhm.
Excel, Databricks, and etc. Might as well use Power BI, right? So that was I was back then part of the BI team already. So I was one of the people tasked to look into Power BI, see how we can transition from uh, product T into Power BI, and it turns out that that was just the beginning. A lot of our clients started transitioning to Power BI. So this, I guess, I can say, although it wasn't a personal decision to
Mhm.
like get started with Power BI, I can say that now there are a lot of organizations, companies that are moving to Power BI. So the market is there, the opportunities are there, and that for me is one of the practical reasons why you would want to use Power BI as a tool. Not only because it gels well with the Microsoft ecosystem, so to speak, not only because there's opportunities for it, but if you look at the tool itself, just Power BI alone, compare it to your other options, it is one of the more user-friendly tools,
Correct.
especially if you are someone that's already in the Microsoft Excel skills or sorry, if you're someone that already has the Microsoft Excel skill set, Power BI will feel kind of at home with you. So that the ease of learning it plus the opportunities that it can give is for me like just two reasons, but two huge reasons to consider Power BI.
Okay, I really like the honest answer because the way you have shown every aspect of that journey, like how it got transitioned and how you decided to work with. But
Yeah.
at the end, we can say that it was the need of the time because this community was looking for expert like yourselves, and that's why like everything happens eventually. So they are very
Yeah,
blessed to
that's
have you
true. Yeah.
like in
Every
their community.
again, yeah, everything kind of just I rolled, I went with the flow, and the flow
Yep.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
beneficial for me.
Okay. All right. So now, Tony will talk bit about the Microsoft Fabric gaining, right? Because nowadays we know that Microsoft Fabric gaining a momentum rapidly, right? So what do you think? Like, what are the opportunities? Should data professional should pay attention to right now in this era? What all skill set they can learn and how they can enhance their skill set in for the Microsoft Fabric?
So with Microsoft Fabric, the main tagline of it, if I remember right, was about unified data ecosystems. Like that was the main selling point of
Yeah.
Microsoft Fabric. But realistically, right now, or maybe not realistically, but practically, what I'm seeing is Microsoft Fabric is mainly trying to marry your data engineering and your data visualization skill sets.
Okay.
Back then, we kind of separated them. Where as of now, with our current client, we are still separate. Where I'm just mainly responsible, or my team is mainly responsible for maintaining, creating reports, and then there's a separate data engineering team that is responsible for the extract, transform, load phase into a gold medallion data set that is ready for BI to consume. But with Microsoft Fabric, what it's supposed to be doing, or what it mainly aims to do, is marry those two together. Wherein, if you're a data engineer, it should be very easy for you to create your own beautiful, intuitive reports with
Yes.
Power BI. And then at the same time, if you're a Power BI person, you're mainly visual, it's going to be easy for you. Low code, almost no code, to be honest, where you can now get the data pieces that you need from your data lake, and either transform them by just pointing and clicking, or produce certain data table transformations that you will need. And all of these, again, marrying those two disciplines together so that everyone will be able to work with data faster, smoother. And the advantage of that is, since there's going to be one person doing data engineering and data visualization, for example, if you merge those two teams together, then supposedly your reports will also feel more uh, purposeful, wherein what is happening on the data side is done because there is a direct improvement or need for the visual side.
Right.
It's controlled by one person, for example. So there, it kind of, yeah, it kind of makes that process smoother. And that's what they meant by unifying the data ecosystems with Fabric.
Okay. Okay. All right. And beyond your professional role, like you are also contributing as a person who are actively contributing for the community of Power BI Pilipinas, because you founded Power BI Pilipinas, which has now become the largest Power BI community in the Philippines. So, if particularly we talk about that community, so what really inspired you to start that community? Why you think like this is the need of the time, and why should you start it?
So I get asked that question quite a bit, and I have a story already in mind. So, if you'll allow me. So,
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, like, I started learning Power BI not because I chose Power BI, but it was a need with the
It was a
company,
need.
really. I was kind of pushed into that direction. Now, my issue back then was I worked the night shift, right? I work with, I'm in Manila, Philippines. I work the US time. So,
Mhm.
2 a.m., 3 a.m., I have questions. I'd have nobody to ask because everyone's still learning. Everyone doesn't know the answer yet for my questions around it. And
Mhm.
my main point of contact would be someone from Reddit, someone from the Fabric community, or back then it was called Power Platform community, I think. Now it's called the Fabric community, but none of them will be local. None of them will be Filipino. Sometimes I would like to ask my questions in Filipino, for example, and have an answer like from someone local. And I just couldn't find anyone. So that was really mainly my trigger. I wanted to build a community, and if you've heard of the Philippine internet environment or the Philippine internet scene, Facebook is huge here. Like that's our marketplace, that's
Okay.
our socials, that's our family tree. For some people, that's our photo album, and that's our like one of, I think as of now, the main way that we find internet communities for the general public.
Mm.
So that's where I came up with the idea that since I can't find an active local Power BI community, I started one myself. And it was a very rough start. Uh, I would have questions. I would post questions. No one would answer because no one knew the answer as well. And we were a very small community. I'd have members slowly joining in, but they were all, I felt they were all beginners as well. So what I would do was I would research the answers to my own questions. I
Mhm.
would reply to my own question with the answer as to what needs to be done, and I would even like my own answer.
That's
So
it.
that happened like, or that continued. I continued to do that for maybe around 1 month, or no, actually, I continued to do that for 3 months or 6 months. I would post a question, answer my own question, even like my own answer. And then at some point, I started noticing that some of the members are actually answering. At the same time, some members would also be asking other questions apart from me posting. And whenever that happens, I would make it a point within 24 hours to find a solution to their problem in Power BI. Not only was I keeping the group alive, but I myself was starting to learn more about Power BI because I was forcing myself to troubleshoot someone else's issue, right? So it was that was my way of forcing myself really to learn this new tool. And I felt that it was effective in really making the community more active, showing them that this is a safe space for us, and there are no dumb questions. Everyone can ask. No one is gonna laugh at you or whatever. And and then at
Yeah.
some point, yeah, I noticed that I don't need to answer the questions anymore. There are other people starting answering questions. At some point, I can't keep track of all of the posts and questions and answers anymore, that I started asking for volunteers to moderate it. So it was a I forgot actually what year. I think we started 2022, maybe. So maybe
Mhm.
I think Power BI Pilipinas, the Facebook group that is already at its fourth year, and we have grown to 30 plus thousand at this point. So it's been a journey. We have at today I can say that I owe my moderators huge gratitude for them to keep the groups clean. They would
Yes.
chat amongst ourselves in the group chat if there's like a certain post that is questionable, stuff like that. So it has been a journey. It My main inspiration honestly started from me wanting to learn Power BI, but at the same time, wanting to set up that, wanting to have that that local local person that will be answering your question about Power
Mm.
BI.
Right. It's so inspiring, like how you started, like just by posting the question and then answering your own questions and liking that.
Yeah.
It's because I know, like, same thing I also followed, because I was working as a IBMI developer. And
Hmm.
for comparatively, like IBMI content is not that much available as compared to other technologies. So same thing I used to do. Like I created some content on IBMI. Then if someone is there who is asking the question, if not, then I'll just post my question. I also share that part. Like if you have this kind of question, you can find out solution in that way. So this is how like our both journey can be correlated because I know, like, if the resources is less, it's really very difficult firstly to understand it and then to share it. but people like you are there who are actively contributing, and that's why like we have such great communities. So that's a great move.
Like us. Yeah. Yeah. Firm handshakes all around. Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay, so now Tony will talk bit about some of the issues, or you can say the common pitfalls for the beginners. So what do you think, like how can a beginner overcome the intermediation factor that is often associated with the analytics and data science? So from your experience, what do you think, like what are the common pitfalls they are facing and how they can be overcome?
So I think one of the more common, and maybe I'm gonna start talking about data analytics more because I know
Yeah.
that data science can get quite technical, can get
Mhm,
heavily mathematical, statistical.
mhm,
So with data analytics, it is often seen as a gateway to either data science or data engineering. It's usually your entry level.
mhm,
Now, even at that, even when I say entry level, there are people that is still nervous about the math behind it, about the syntax behind it. Like I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to do this. I wouldn't know how to do your job.
mhm.
And I my advice is to not let that scare you away because
Okay.
at the core of it, we are surrounded by data and there's lots of analytics already in front of you that is either ongoing that you can at least consume and appreciate and
Mhm,
learn from, or that you can do yourself. If you're a sports fan, player stats is a very popular data piece that is being analyzed over and over again, whether it's boxing, football, basketball, whatever.
mhm,
And if you're not into sports, if you're into games, I've seen dashboards about Pokemon, about Street Fighter. So there's a lot of entry point. Now, my thing is if you're like that, when we're talking beginner, when you are super like beginner level, and you're even nervous about data itself, getting yourself comfortable with something that is really close to your heart is I would say is a start to get you be comfortable with the numbers, see how see how that's actually affecting the real world. And for me, that's the most important thing anyway. You shouldn't be too tied up with the math and the syntax of it, but note or make sure that you know what the data does in the real world. And once
mhm,
you kind of are comfortable with that, then yeah, you find your path, whether it's Power BI, whether it's Excel, right? Excel is usually like where most people begin, at least during my time 20 years ago. That's where most people get to know how to make their first table, make their first line chart and pie chart,
yeah.
and uh, they can start with like yeah, imitating what they've seen on a certain sports magazine or sports website or some other data analysis website, and that's how you kind of get yourself acquainted, and slowly as you not just practice more, but also surround yourself with people from data communities regarding it, you'll be more and more comfortable, and you'll get more ideas as to how to play around with data and get more from what you're doing with your creativity and your uh, data skill set.
Yeah. Here, I just want to ask one question because I think you are the right person to answer on it. Particularly about this is about the Power BI solution, because sometimes we feel that many Power BI solution work well with the thousands of row, right? But when we talk about the enterprise scaling level, at scale level, at that time they might get failed or not provide the required output. So in that case, what do you think? Like, what are the architectural mistake can be there which causes those kind of failure at the scale level?
Honestly, so maybe less or slightly less of a Power BI, or before we talk about the main Power BI
Yeah.
mistakes, we of course you need to consider the most basic data analysis best practices, right? Like make sure that you only filter the rows that you need, make sure that you drop the columns that you don't need. Mainly, that's a couple of the things, a few of the things that you want to make sure of. Now, the other thing that's specific to Power BI is if you're someone that's watching this video podcast or listening to this podcast right now, and you have started learning about Power BI, you'll hear a lot about the star schema. And the reason why you're gonna hear that a lot is because Power BI uses what it calls the Vertipack engine. With the Vertipack engine, it doesn't like it when you have a big, wide, flat table that you're analyzing. If you are coming from multiple separate tables, uh, the the old school Excel way of thinking is let me join all those into one single table to make them all know about each other, and let me analyze that to big, massive single table.
Right.
With Power BI, it tends to like it better that you keep those tables separate and you just relate them with an ID column, whatever. But if you do that, that's almost maybe at some point, depending on really how you set it up, but that's making you closer to that star schema that Power BI would like to consume instead of that big white table. And it does help you be more what do you call that, adaptable or scalable into how many ever million rows that you need to consume.
All right. Okay, so I think now those who are working with the Power BI stuff, they have the clarity like how to deal with such kind of situation when you are working at a scale level. And I think now, Tony, although like there are plenty of things that we can discuss here, but we are short on time, so I just want to take a couple of more questions before we conclude the discussion. And this question is regarding the support of network for your journey, because I believe like behind every person there is a successful there is a support of network, right? So looking back on your career, who were the key people around you who had the defining impact on your journey so far?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Now, I as far as recent memory comes to mind, number one will be Drizzle Doher Pablo. She is a Microsoft MVP. She was actually the one who told me about the MVP award process itself. Like before, when I started Power BI Pilipinas, I had no idea what it could become. I had no idea what an MVP is. Even I didn't care, didn't know. I just wanted the community. So she was the one who actually reached out to me and told me that all of the things I'm doing is like eligible to be
Eligible for that,
MVP.
right?
Are you interested? Blah blah blah. And she was the one who showed me what community can build. What can I do more for the community, and at the same time, what can we do more with our communities?
Yeah.
So, as far as like the Power BI Pilipinas growth activities, etc., I would say that she's definitely one of the recent mentors, recent extremely impactful mentors that I've had. And then before that, like outside Power BI Pilipinas, outside the MVP, I've been very fortunate, like with my previous managers, all the way from me being an agent. So my team leaders, like Leonard Sales, up to my recent managers and directors, whether it be Julius Castor or Kevin Zender or Ken House, all of them were very patient with me and allowed me to experiment and fail in some of the, either whether it be a data solution, or back then whether it be a process improvement solution, and all of those leeway that they gave to me, all of that breathing room, allowed me to further know what works, what doesn't, and allowed me to and shaped me to essentially what I've become today. So yeah, huge props, huge thanks to all of the previous leaders that have guided me.
It's really good to know like how people support each other, especially without any favor, right? Like because you also started this community without any expectation from the community. You just do it because of the passion, right? And then later on,
Yeah.
more people will come into your contact, and they suggested you, they promoted you, they helped you. So this is how like community actually works. So it was a really very inspiring journey of yours. Okay, so now Tony will before concluding this discussion, I just want to take one more question, and this is regarding the place you belong from. So, as a proud citizen of Philippines, if you had to share one best thing about Philippines with the rest of the global world, what you would like to share? I know there are so many good things about Philippines, but one which is close to your heart.
The food, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I'd say the food, but to try to connect my answer better, I guess, to our discussion so far,
Mm-hmm.
especially around BPOs, around uh, Power BI, the skill set, the community. One thing that I feel, and this is something that Filipinos themselves have always been saying, is that I think what we are all proud of is we have a unique blend of technical skill and friendly warmth.
Okay.
So that's something that, especially on the BPO industry, and as we've spoke about at the start of this conversation, like it's not just important sometimes to know the correct answer, but
Mm-hmm.
it's that human connection, which I feel that
Yes.
is one of the proud points of a lot of Filipinos around the country, where we're bringing technical support, or we're bringing technical skills with a heart, and that's they have a local term for it. Not sure if you've heard of it, called bayanihan, which really means communal unity and cooperation. So it's mainly ingrained in tradition and culture. I mentioned Drizzle earlier, my MVP mentor, and her website, or sorry, her community is actually
Mm-hmm.
called Tech Bayanihan. So which
Okay.
is like tech communal unity, something
Okay.
like that. So it's heavily ingrained, and I feel that that's what most Pinoys, Filipinos are really proud of. That warmth and friendliness.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, thank you so much, Tony, for joining us in this episode and for sharing so much insightful information about Power BI, your work, and also about the Philippines. It was really a pleasure talking to you here. And I hope you also enjoyed the discussion. So, thank you once again for being a part of the show.
Likewise. Thank you very much, Amit. And yeah, thanks to everyone who's listening still up to this point. Appreciate
Thank-
you.
yeah, we appreciate that. Thanks.